no, we'll just give them half the people on our own side. Said, well, if we just give that, because we don't care about that, we don't care about them. We just give them that.
Yeah.
Then they'll leave us alone. No, they check that off and they go to the next one. They check that, and we've got to fight every single one of them. If we can't give them red flag and think they won't come for the next thing, the next street, make them continue to spend their money and their time and their resources until their people are tired of showing up with signs that say "Mom's demand action." Let them tire out, and they are. Their movement is real weak. There's not a lot of people that aren't paid that will show up to the protest on behalf of losing one of their rights. So that's why they bust kids now.
That's the difference between us and them. They get paid, we don't.
No.
Yeah.
They get Bloomberg, a deep pocket, who runs the media and pays these kids to do this.
But anyone we gave them the assault weapons, we'll give them another 10 years in the assault weapons ban. They go good. We don't have to worry about that one. We don't have to we don't have to spend money on advertising. We don't have to show up to speak. That's one less they have to work on. So I'm going to make them work for everyone. So my dying breath, I'm going to make them work for it. But I think we do have to get better at talking about how much better things have gotten. I would like to just take a second to introduce Eric Brady, because this week is yesterday was a 4-year anniversary of us having constitutional Eric, can you take like three minutes to tell us, maybe like you did yesterday? Would you like to do that?
Certainly, I'd be happy
Great.
to.
Tell us how that came about. Come on up. In
All right.
2013.
I wasn't planning to, because we're featuring, the awesome women in our movement.
Identify as a woman.
I guess these days you get away with that.
Okay.
This month, actually it was October 15th, but this month is 4 years since constitutional carry became the law in the state of Maine. We passed it in 2015. Paul LePage signed it into law, and on October 15th, 2015, that's when it became the law. We became the 6th state in the nation with constitutional carry. Of course, the predictions from all of the anti-gun groups, all of the AstroTurf, Moms Demanding Our Guns, all those groups funded by Michael Bloomberg, they said Maine would become the wild, wild west. There would be blood running through our streets. There would be shootouts happening on every corner. And things did change. We went from being the 2nd safest state in America to the 1st safest state in America. And we surpassed Vermont, the original constitutional carry state.
2 years in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, well, actually, by my count, I guess it depends on which organization you're looking at. By my count, we've been the safest state in America for 4 years in a row. Actually, the year we passed constitutional carry became a law was the first year we were ranked the safest state in America, and it's been that way ever since. Now, I'm not going to suggest that correlation equals causation. I'm sure there's a number of factors that go into it, but the fact that remains that all of the predictions that were made on the other side about the dangers, they didn't come true. Their doom and gloom predictions did not come true. In fact, 4 out of the top 5 safest states in America are all constitutional carry states, which is something considering there's only less than a fourth, maybe about a fifth of the states, about a fifth of the states in this union are constitutional carry states yet. 4/5 of the states that are the safest in America have constitutional carry. So I think that says something about the value of individual, private ownership of firearms as integral for promoting the safety of America. It's the reason why the Japanese never thought to invade us, because there was a gun behind every blade of grass, and it's the reason why when I look and I see that Massachusetts, I don't know if you folks saw this the other day, Massachusetts, they have red flag gun confiscation there. And just had a case the other week where an individual, he was a Korean War veteran. He was a school crossing guard. And he made a comment at a diner about the school resource officer leaving in the middle of the day, not doing his job. And he said, well, what happens if someone came while he was gone? Someone could shoot up the school. And a waitress overhears him talking about shooting up the school. And so she reports him, and under the red flag laws, they come, they take his firearms away, no due process. And when they find out it was all a mistake and everything, does he get his guns back? No. He doesn't get his guns back. They're selling his firearms. And this is, it certainly makes me grateful that 199 years ago our ancestors had the foresight to break away from Massachusetts. That could be the laws that we're living under. But thankfully, we all stood and fought together in Augusta earlier this year. We defeated these red flag proposals. We defeated all these gun control proposals. When frankly a lot of people thought that there was no hope, there was no chance, because Democrats controlled everything. But at the end of the day, Democrats, they're still politicians, and they're afraid of us. They're afraid of the voters. They're afraid of the people who are authorized under our Constitution to vote them out of office. We have some huge opportunities coming up in 2020. We got to take back our state. We got to take back our state in the state house, the state senate. We got a huge opportunity coming up in the 2nd Congressional District. Of course, I'm running as a candidate for the 2nd Congressional District. Yesterday, we kind of launched our Gun Owners for Breaky Coalition. If you'd like to be involved, I'd love to have you involved. The 2nd District of Maine, if we can't win back the conservative gun-toting half of the state, then we really are in trouble. I think we have a big opportunity, and I appreciate it all. It all comes back to what we're all doing. So I think I've probably taken more than my 3 minutes at this point. I'll give the stage
Well,
back.
thank you so much.
Pleasure all mine.
Right in the state of Maine is so young, took on running against an incumbent that had been there for years, and was the youngest. Were you the youngest state senator in Maine history, or at least in
Not in history.
modern history?
When I was elected, I was the youngest in the state and in the country. I was elected at the age of 26.
I was really
Yeah.
surprised. I go, this bill is going nowhere. They're not going to pass that. Why are they crazy surprised? He's the young senator from Worcester.
You know, I would
on behalf of, Ron Paul, conservative, libertarian, oh yeah. Ron Paul's my
Well,
I'm like,
I remember I worked really hard to get not just, when we put the bill in, I worked hard not just to get Republican co-sponsors, but because Democrats controlled the House, I worked hard to get Democrat co-sponsors. There were some really good Democrats who were on board with that. There was one Democrat legislator, I worked really hard to get him on board as a co-sponsor. I forget his name. He was a representative from Lewiston. It was like Jared Golden or something like that. And he had to. I remember he had to check with the powers that be to make sure that it was okay. And once he got the okay, he signed on as a co-sponsor. But then the Michael Bloomberg money started flooding into the state. Because when they saw that we had near 100 co-sponsors, enough to pass the bill in both chambers, if everyone who co-sponsored it voted yes on the bill, the Bloomberg money started flowing in, and then Jared changed his tune. Voted against it 3 times. Came up on the floor 3 times. He was a co-sponsor and then voted against it 3 times. Flip-flopping all over the place with our Second Amendment
well,
rights.
we appreciate you fighting for our gun
Yeah.
rights. We really
Yeah.
appreciate everyone here that's fought for gun
Yeah.
rights.
Well, we all do it together. And no one in Augusta would be effective if it wasn't for the movement of grassroots Second Amendment people backing us all up. So thank you for everything you all do.
Thank you all. Yes, we could have talked about that.
I wanted to address a couple of comments that were made. One to you, Jonathan, is I do have, when we were talking about the men domestic violence, I do have Maine's most recent statistics from the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, but Maine unfortunately has not been very forthcoming. The most, as of December 31st of 2016, Maine did not submit any domestic violence misdemeanor or protective order records to this database. So they have not done that since 2016, but as of before this, 26.7% of Maine men experience intimate partner physical violence, and 36.6% of women. So there really is only a 10% difference. And you one could make the distinction that because of certain stigmas, unfortunately, we face as female gun owners our own stigmas. There are stigmas that number's probably underreported with men because there's, you know, so that's probably I do have names. If you wanted this to, you know, it's got the website on the bottom, you're welcome to all of that information for Maine. The other thing I wanted to address kind of is what you go back to saying that, as gun owners, we need to do something about the violence in video games, the violence in television and stuff like that. And that it doesn't seem like gun owners are doing that. And I agree with you on some of that, but I think it goes a little bit deeper. As a gun owner, I wouldn't want to start attacking, people who are pro video gamers and say, well, it's your video games causing violence, because then we're potentially losing some supporters who say, no, it's personal responsibility, it's mental health. So we don't really want to lose potential support. We need to grow our network and really make people focus what the problem is. But deeper than an increase in violence in video games, an increase in violence in movies, we have the desensitization, we have a dehumanization, and it goes so deep that we could sit here and talk all day, and I'm not gonna go there. We could talk all day about reproduction and abortion, and I'm not gonna go there, but what I can say is we have a serious, somebody used the word epidemic, of our children from a very young age. We are showing them that we do not care about the most precious, the most in need of protection, the most vulnerable. We are saying that though that is nothing, that child inside the mother is nothing, it's a parasite. So we're showing our children from a very young age that human beings have different levels of human beings. That human beings have different levels of value, that if somebody is what we consider defective, that it's okay to cast them aside. You know, like if somebody has Down syndrome, that should have been aborted because they're somehow less than human. That's the message we're sending. We send it with our justice system, so that if somebody's committed a crime, they're just a throwaway now. And so much of that culture has to change, but instead of attacking, you know, would-be supporters that are gamers or really big into action videos and stuff like that, is really just focusing on undeniably we are dehumanizing people and we devalue life from such an early age, and that's the message we're sending to our children. They're growing up thinking that life is just not important because we won't even defend it at its very base stage. And so that's what we're getting, this desensitization, dehumanization, and children are growing up and they are more likely to shoot up a school. Maybe it does kind of feed into the video game, but more deep than the video game is that we just don't value life.
Well, it wasn't just video games.